Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Missy and this is Rambling Rose Farmhouse, and I'm happy to have you joining me in my kitchen today. Today I'm going to be making a fall recipe. This is another bread recipe. It's a pumpkin bread recipe, but this one is made in the bread maker. So I'm really excited. I've had a lot of fun experimenting with my bread maker since I got it, and you will probably see a lot more bread maker recipes. So if bread machine recipes are something that you're interested in, be sure and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you'll see when I add another bread maker recipe, because I really have been having a lot of fun with this thing. But today I'm going to make a harvest bread recipe. It's going to have pumpkins and pecans in it, but it's not a pumpkin bread recipe like a cake type pumpkin bread like I made before with the cream cheese icing. That was like delicious, but that's more of a dessert, and this is going to be more of a savory yeast bread. So let's go ahead and get started. I think too that I want to say, if you don't have a bread maker, you should be able to use the same recipe and just bake it in your oven. You might have to adjust your flour or your liquid if it's too dry or too wet. If you're a bread maker, you'll know if you need to do that. But I think that the recipe will work either in your bread maker or in your oven. So let's go ahead and get started. Get my pan out of here, and then we'll start adding everything to it. Okay, I've got all of my ingredients ready to make this go a little quicker, and so let's talk about what that is. I've got my bread flour, I've got salt, and my bread machine yeast. The spices that are going to go in this bread are ginger, cloves, and cinnamon. Then I have pumpkin puree. You need to make sure that it's not, you don't want to use pumpkin pie filling, it needs to be pumpkin puree. Chopped pecans, milk, and sugar. And so this is going to make us a nice pumpkin pecan bread for the fall. Okay, I'm going to start. So my recipe doesn't call for olive oil, but I'm going to start by putting just a dab of olive oil on that little post down there. I just usually do that before I put my paddle on, and I find that that helps it to not stick. So like I said, I'm not going to put very much, just a little dab. And I have not found that it hurts the recipe to add a little bit of olive oil just on the post. I guess on some recipes it might, but I haven't had that problem yet. So you're going to need to add your ingredients according to the way your bread maker tells you to. Mine, I add my liquid ingredients first and then my dry ingredients. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with my milk. I have 1/3 of a cup of milk. And then I'm going to add my butter. I had it in my little butter melter because it was hard, but it's since gotten soft, so I don't think I'm going to have to melt it. I'm just going to have to get it out of here. So let me grab a knife. Okay, so I'm just going to get my butter out of here and put it down in here. So one of the things I want to tell you about this, I did a video on my bread maker and telling you about why I chose this one, and this ceramic pan was one of the reasons, because I didn't want the regular nonstick. I love this pan. It works so good. I've not had any problems with it, but I wash it by hand. I don't wash it in the dishwasher, and I don't think that I said that in my last video, so just wanted to add that here. But I love it. Nothing has ever stuck in my pan. Okay, so I've got my butter and I've got my milk in there, and I'm going to go ahead and add my pumpkin puree. I consider this to go in with the liquids because it's not, you know, it's not a flour. And I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of the pumpkin puree. Okay, next I'm going to add 2 cups of bread flour, and I'm using 1/2 of a cup measuring cup, so I'm going to have to add 4 of these. Three tablespoons of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And now I'm going to add my bread machine yeast, and that's going to be 2 teaspoons of yeast right there on the top. Now, I'm not going to add my pecans right now. My bread maker does not have a dispenser to dispense it itself, but it will give me a little alarm when it's time to add the pecans. You could add them at the beginning, it really wouldn't matter, but I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna add those whenever it tells me it's time. So this is, everything is in here and ready to go and put it into the bread maker. So I'm gonna choose menu number 1. I'm gonna make it the larger loaf size, and I'm gonna leave the color medium. So that's what I'm choosing to do here. I'm going to go ahead and push the start button and get it started. Sometimes if I'm standing here watching it, I'll get the stuff that's stuck on the sides like that off, but a lot of times I just put the ingredients in, I walk off, and so I'm not standing here watching it, and I don't do that. And it turns out fine both ways. So now we've gone to the next cycle, which is rest. So that was the stir, this is the rest, and then it will go to the second stir, which is the kneading. And then after that, it'll be the ferment. Okay, it just finished baking. I just took the pan out of the bread machine, and I'm fixing to put it out on the wire rack to cool. I like to try to get it out the bread pan as soon as I can, but I'm trying to show you what it looks like in the pan. It's not a perfect loaf, but it looks pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it out and get it to cooling. Okay, here it is. It might not be the most beautiful loaf, but I think it's got that rustic harvest look, which is exactly what it should have, since that's what kind of bread it is. Let's go ahead and let me cut it so you can see what it looks like on the inside. And I can tell you, obviously I love the fall spice smells because this bread smells so good. And this is delicious, warm, just straight out of the oven. You have to let it cool a little while before you actually butter it, but with some butter on it. It's also great for toast with like a savory breakfast. And what I want to try with it today, because I haven't tried this before, is to make a French toast with it. I think it's going to make the most amazing French toast. So I'm going to give that a try, but look how pretty that bread is. The other thing that I think this would make really good that I'm going to try when Thanksgiving comes is to make sandwiches out of this bread with leftover turkey and probably spread a little bit of my homemade cranberry sauce on it. I think that would be amazing. So that's something that I'm looking forward to trying. But let's go ahead over to the stove and make some French toast out of this and see how that turns out. Okay, I'm gonna add some egg into my bowl. A little milk. And then I'm gonna mix this all up. And I'm not going to add anything to this since the bread already has spices added to it. I don't think I need any extra. I've got some butter melting over here in my skillet. I'll show you that. Yep. And I think it's just about ready, so let me see if I can get this turned. All right, so I'm going to take my slice of bread and dip it here into my egg mixture. I should have got a little bit bigger bowl probably. And then I'm going to put it right into my skillet. I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's going to taste really good. I think it's the perfect bread to make French toast, or what my husband calls lost bread. His grandmother used to make this for him, and she called it lost bread. And from what I understand about that, it's because they would use the bread that would be lost because they would have to throw it out because it was too stale or whatever to eat. So they would take it and they would soak it in the milk and egg mixture to soften it up, and then they would cook it like this. And so that's why they called it lost bread. Now I like mine to get a little crispy, so I probably will cook it a little bit longer and probably turn it back over again. I'm going to add a little more butter in my skillet. Yum. Okay, so you could eat it just like this, or you could add honey, you could add maple syrup. I like a little sprinkle of powdered sugar, so that's what I'm going to add here on mine. Smells delicious. I can't wait to try it. It's perfection, y'all. You gotta try this recipe. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know if you're gonna try this recipe. So if you think you're gonna try it, leave a comment and let me know. And if you do try it, please come back and again, leave a comment and tell me how what you thought of it, if you liked it. And I would love to know how you use it too, if you come up with some different ideas than I have for how I plan on using the bread. So again, thank you for being here. Be sure and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so that you can see more of my content. And I will see you back again here next week with another video.